that Instagram.
We should repost her.
Yeah,
We're gonna repost her. She sent us a screenshot that she has an alarm
that says "Dear Darby" live because
I'm so proud
her
of you.
notifications weren't working. So we're so happy you're here, Becca. We are happy you're all here, and we'll get to it because we know
we're talking about breastfeeding.
We're talking about breastfeeding, and you guys. Last week went really, really well with having our sleep consultant, Marietta, take over our post and just to be the resident expert on sleep because we're the experts in birth, but we're not experts on everything. So
yeah, so we find them.
We love to find other people that are experts in something. So for you. So we did sleep last week, and we wanted to go on a similar vein with breastfeeding.
Just because, again, it's kind of the same area, or same timing. Same timing.
Yeah, same timing.
So
newborn, you've had your baby, and we just wanted to come up with a couple pain points for parents, which are sleep and breastfeeding. Typically, within the few newborn phase, those are typically the first two stress points for parents. So we have consulted a resident expert. Her name is Anna. She's with Prenatal Insights, and she is an IBCLC, and she's a nurse and a breastfeeding consultant. It's just she knows breastfeeding in and out. So we consulted her. She gave us some great information that we're going to share with you. And
plus some of our own information too.
Yeah,
that we
have some information too.
Because as doulas, doulas and moms, we have studied the art of breastfeeding.
We do. That's part of our training. Is learning about breastfeeding. And while we are good,
we're not certified in it, if that makes sense. So we wanted to make sure we were getting you all the accurate information, and then awesome Anna said that she would do a Q&A on a post like we did last week. So if you have any questions, we're going to go over a bunch of things tonight, and we'll do a recap, but we're going to post right after this live. We'll put a post up, and if you have any questions, ask them, and Anna said she'd come in and answer them.
And Anna will answer them, and it can be any question. She'll be there for you. So ask her, and we'll get to it because we love breastfeeding, guys. It's good stuff.
True. It is good stuff.
Well, it is good stuff, and the thing that is great is we understand not everybody can breastfeed. We understand that there's situations and like supply issues, all of that. And what I wish I knew, April luckily is more of a, she figures things out better than I do, but I had supply issues with my kids, and I just petered out with my children having enough supply. And April, did you consult a lactation consultant?
So yeah, I mean, I had some friends. I didn't actually get an appointment and do anything like that, mostly because so just a quick, I guess we should recap our breastfeeding experiences real fast. So I had a ton of milk with my first baby, but really sore nipples, really hurty bad for 5 weeks with her until I figured out and we'll talk about this a little later, until I figured out that it was her latch. Even though she was gaining weight and everything seemed fine, I was hurting. And so that was my experience with my first baby. My second baby, I was fine, and we'll talk about sore and cracked nipples later and all those things. But I was fine, and then I got pregnant when she was 6 months. I got pregnant again, and by the time that I was 3 months along, my milk was gone. It dried up and it was gone, and so I knew that she wasn't getting enough milk. I could feel that I wasn't having a letdown, and so I did talk to my midwife, and I talked to a lactation consultant, and just kind of determined that my body had shifted gears and was now putting everything into a baby. So I wasn't giving myself enough nutrients to supply both
a baby and a nursing child.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So that was my experience with losing my milk then, and then I was really nervous about losing my milk with subsequent children, which so then I talked to some lactation consultants to make sure that I had an ample supply and did some things. So
we'll share with you the tips and tricks that we have done, but we want to give you some really awesome information. My breastfeeding stories basically are same thing. First baby, it was really hard on my nipples. And I breastfed for 14 months. Then my next baby, I ran out of milk at 12 months. And then my twins, I never made enough milk.
But it was so amazing. You gotta know, she just would like hold the two little babies in her palms.
It was the best ever. I would
pop them on there.
And I had I would pump an ounce out of each side after a lot of hours. I just wanted to know how much I would get. And I'd get 1 ounce out of each side. And so I knew they weren't getting enough, but it was just the benefits of that close skin to skin was important to me. I fed him an ounce every time for 8 months.
But that's good.
And it was awesome. I loved it.
But you put the effort into it, which is awesome.
And again, if you're not breastfeeding right now, or you didn't feel like breastfeeding, I hope
there's a real legit thing called breastfeeding aversion.
Yeah,
and it's a real thing. It's real. Some women just really hate it, and that's okay too. You just gotta know that we're just giving you the information of what breastfeeding is, if it's something you really want to do, we're gonna just help you with information. Yeah. But know that if you don't want to, that's okay too.
That's okay. And we'll have another topic next week that you might love. So, and
I love that we've had a few people we love I think
that.
Molly said that she's breastfeeding her toddler right now.
Yes.
So I love it.
So you've made it. So that's good.
And combined 9 years.
And what's cool is we're going to tell you some of the cool things. I didn't know some of these things that we learned.
Yeah.
And it's just super cool. So, I don't know if you know, but I'm going to tell you my background is I'm an herbalist. And so I love science of food and nutrition and nutrients and how it works with the body and why. So I love all this information because it totally is oh, that's so cool. So nutritionally, breast milk is the perfect food and literally it has the exact protein, fat, carbs, exactly that ideal combination of vitamins and minerals that a baby needs. The baby never needs water because there's adequate hydration. The breast milk is the perfect food. And we've heard that, but we're going to get into why it's the perfect food. Starting with colostrum. Do you know about colostrum?
Okay, so colostrum is what they call liquid gold.
It's that first.
It's what your body is producing and starts producing when you're pregnant, but then that's what it produces in the first couple of days. Sometimes anywhere from the first day to 3 days is typically when it is. And what happens is it's super high in protein and carbohydrates.
Yeah.
Right? Am I saying that
And
correctly?
very low in fat. And the reason is because that baby needs fat takes a lot longer to break down in the body, but sorry.
Yeah, no, and the baby needs high calories and to be able to process the food quickly. And what's nice about it too is there's a ton of antibodies in it. So this baby's coming out into a world full of germs, and that colostrum actually is chock full of antibodies that will help to build immediately that baby's immune system.
Yes. Okay, and then mature milk, which is after that 3 days, it's 3 to 5% fat that is in that milk, and so then it's helping that baby to grow and develop. It has so many nutrients in it, everything that baby needs to develop its brain and its ligaments and bones, it's already all developed, but continue to grow and nourish the body. It has every single nutrient that is needed for that baby's body. My favorite, you guys, this is the part that totally was this the part that it and I'll link
the article. We had a couple of amazing articles.
You got to read them because they're super cool. Let's come to this next. The one that was my favorite is okay. So when you breastfeed, when your baby gets sick, and they tell you that the best thing for your baby is to have breast milk, right? Breast milk builds the baby's immune system, and it has everything the baby needs to get better. But the coolest part is they have figured out, there is a scientist, she's a biologist at Arizona State University that has made it her life mission to figure this out. And she figured out that what happens is, I might have to read it because it's a little technical, but when the baby sucks onto your nipple, the latch and that sucking effect creates this vacuum, and that vacuum opens up the micro pores in your nipple. And those micropores have immune sensors on it, and the immune sensors, the saliva carries it
evaluates the saliva.
Yeah, so it carries the information. The saliva carries the information from the baby's body, and those immune sensors in your nipple take that information and brings it into you, and your body will provide all the white blood cells, all the antibodies,
so anything if your baby, before your baby even has symptoms of being sick, your nipples will know that the baby has like an overabundance of bacteria or something like that, where it's then starting to produce what your body needs, or what your baby needs in your body already. Isn't that fascinating?
That is the coolest thing, and that's the only thing that makes sense to me, because I don't know. At least my mind was blown. Because I was like, oh, that's so cool that my body knows what my baby needs. But when you start breaking down, like, the immune sensors in your nipple.
Like, did you know you had those?
And then the immune responses in your saliva.
Like, if you don't think your body's pretty cool, please just take a minute to be like, sister, you guys are amazing.
Amazing. So, when it's hard and those nipples are cracked and you want to scream and you're like, this is the worst.
And your toes are curling and you're just like,
If you can remember, like,
that first week. It's
just a week.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 weeks. Mine was 2 weeks. Maybe more.
But if it's more than that, then definitely consult a lactation
consultant. That's what we're going to give you some more information about. Because, but just remember that when it gets hard and you want to quit, or maybe you feel like this isn't worth it, it's worth it. It's worth that, just that immune response that immunity that your baby gets
and then knowing that and being like, okay, this is awesome. I am doing something, because that's the hardest thing when our babies get sick, is not knowing what's wrong. And so knowing that, like, okay, innately, I don't consciously need to know what's going on. My body does, and it's helping, and it's making things okay. My baby's okay because I'm nursing, and
they're getting everything they need. And it really is sweet. And if your baby does get sick, it doesn't mean your body messed up. What it means is your body is doing its job, and the baby will heal faster. Sometimes it takes a minute for that baby to catch up.
And that's the nature of mortality, right? Is we build our immune system by getting sick, unfortunately. But the nice thing is it doesn't have to be like an elongated process. If you are nursing, then just know that same with like giving your body immune boosting supplements, like vitamin D, or like you taking your own vitamins and minerals help your body come out of the sickness quicker. It's the same concept for your baby as well. Plus, if you're taking supplements, that also makes it so your body has more available resources.
Yes. Okay, another really cool thing that I thought was really cool. So there are sugars called oligosaccharides, and they have found 150 different oligosaccharides in breast milk.
Sugar?
Yeah, it's a sugar strain. Wait, what?
No, go ahead.
It's a strain of sugar, right? Or it's a glucose strain. And the cool thing about those oligosaccharides is that the baby cannot, it doesn't do anything for the baby. Like, it's a nutrient. No, it's a nutrient that's in those, that the baby doesn't absorb, but it feeds the good bacteria in your breast milk and in your baby's gut to help the microbiome of your baby and that milk, because you have to have good bacteria, right? That's what builds your immune system. That's what helps digestion. It helps all kinds of things in your body. And that is so it has 150 strains of sweetness that just feed that bacteria and helps the digestion. Like, it's digesting things, because you know how as moms we eat different things that maybe don't jive with our baby, but that's what they do. They break it down.
That's so cool.
I know. I love that.
And it tastes good. Like, truth, truth or truth, if you haven't tasted the breast milk, you haven't?
No, it always weirded me out.
Why?
I don't know.
I'm gonna pump and I'm gonna. Okay, yeah. So last time
I don't want to.
When I was at a girls' trip with my friends, I was pumping, and I have a couple friends that have never had babies, and they're like, "What does it taste like?" And I said, "Here you go," and they like dipped their finger.
They did. Okay,
delicious.
So by the way, I have dairy issues. I have lactose issues. So even just thinking of other milk, like
she doesn't do milk at all.
I don't do milk.
So it's not like, well, you drink cow's milk, but
no, here we go. I hate all milk. So I think I have an aversion to milk in general.
It's so sweet. It's delicious.
It's so good. There was a study. Should I go into that? They did not a study, but they had like professional taste testers they pumped a bunch of milk from all different kinds of women, and they the women wrote down what they had eaten that day, and they pumped all this milk.
Oh, interesting.
And then they had professional taste testers taste the milk and see, and
like hints of
no, they did.
Pepper.
That is exactly.
That's so
one lady had eaten something spicy, and the taste testers were like, "It's peppery." So it comes through in your food. So your baby is eating your cuisine, and it's proven by the professional taste testers.
So that means you should probably eat a whole variety of food, so your baby won't be picky. Just kidding. I don't know if that's.
I wonder.
I do.
I wonder if that's.
It can't be a thing because I've got some picky eaters and some not, and I eat all the same things.
It's true. I agree. It's preference, obviously. Anyway, so those are all like the nutrition parts of
like science-based,
science-based,
like in what breast milk has to offer you.
Yes.
So now we're gonna get into the actual breastfeeding.
Yes. Take it away.
Okay. So breast milk supply is probably the number one most.
Well, according to Anna
from Prenatal Insights,
our expert,
she gets her number one question is women getting nervous that they're losing their milk and that their milk supply is going down. But she said that but that's usually the tendency to jump to the worst case scenario in our heads really quickly. She said a lot of factors actually contribute to milk supply, and breast milk is driven by demand. So that means that the more milk that if your baby seems to be drinking or wanting to nurse more often, typically that just means they're going through a growth spurt, and so then your body's actually producing more, which is kind of cool too. So if your baby is starting to sleep through the night or take longer, maybe you're introducing solids, so they're not eating as much during the day, then your breast milk or your milk supply will
decrease.
Yeah, it'll alter itself to adjust. There we go. It'll adjust to what is being required of it. So if you're somebody who like me, I work some mornings, and so there's some mornings that Ren is like I have pumped and have milk for her, and so she's 10 months old now, and so she's shifting between food, like people food, regular food, and sleeping through the night a little bit longer. But I don't want my milk supply to go down because I want to be able to pump and have some milk storage for her as well. So I know that, okay, if she used to eat every 3 hours, and if now we're going longer, if I want to keep my milk supply up, I need to pump as well to eliminate the milk from my breast so that I will continue to produce more. Does that make sense?
So as you pump, you
will maintain your milk supply
or increase it if you need to increase it. You pumping in between feedings can help stimulate the need for milk.
This didn't come from our expert, but this was my own experience. The more water I drink, the more breast milk I have. So
has anyone noticed that? Do you notice that
like significantly? Because there's some days like I'll drink like 40 ounces and that's it, and then there's other days that I will drink almost 200, and I'm like, holy moly, this is a lot. Like when when
you think about it.
When I think about it. So there was a few weeks that I was trying to drink as much as I weighed, and so it was 200 ounces. and that's a lot of water. And so I was constantly drinking water, and I felt it in my milk supply, which is super cool.
So I want to know if anyone else has had that. Okay, so Krista, you've noticed that too. The more water you drink, the more milk you have, which again, it's moisture. Okay, that's the wrong word.
Yes, we have a question. Does exercise really decrease your supply? The answer is sometimes.
Technically, it depends on your body.
It depends on your body. So she said that a recent change in caloric intake, such as decreasing your calories. Yeah. So a lot of people who are wanting to lose weight. So if you are just going to the gym and working out really hard,
and then eating normally,
like where you're not like rejuvenating those calories that you are.
That's a decrease.
Off. That is a decrease in caloric intake, and so you could possibly
see that,
or see your milk supply go down. Some people do, some people don't. Yeah. So that's the other thing about breastfeeding is, some people have a great abundance, some people don't. Yeah. But the thing is unless it's like a genetic thing where you don't have mammary glands, there's you should be able to get something. And so there's lots of tricks out there, lots of foods, lots of things that hopefully, I know that there's there's a lot of things out there that you could try, but one of the biggest and best things that you can do is not stress about it.
Guys, that was what I was going to talk about. I think most of my breastfeeding issues was stress related. It's when you think about like what your body does when you feel stress, the hormones that are released, the pressure that you put on your cells to function just a normal function, it's not gonna be its best self and
it's doing a lot of stuff.
It's doing a lot.
In fact, the amount of calories that it takes to actually produce milk is a lot. Yeah. It takes a lot of effort and energy of your body. And so if you're stressed, it is just with anything, like your health decreases, your like things happen with your body, and so your body's trying to maintain itself. And so one of the things that it will do is stop doing something that takes so much work and effort, which is producing breast milk. So if you can, but here's another thing too. Within the first day, 3 days, the first day your baby is born, their stomach is the size of a marble. Mm-hmm. So it's tiny. So that colostrum that like you don't have a whole lot in you, but even just a few sucks, just know that like when you're filling up a marble, that's fine. Mm-hmm. You're totally fine there. And then within the first 3 days, it moves up to be like the size of a walnut-ish. And then after that, it's like the size of their fist. So just know that they, like, even though they're little, like, they're still, what you are producing is something. Now, if you are feeling like you aren't producing enough, definitely consult a lactation consultant. Yes. Get the help that you need. Yeah. Find ways that you can increase your milk supply. And go ahead. No, we're going to say something. Okay. I was just going to say other common causes for sudden decrease in milk supply. So we talked about length in between feedings, and then recent changes to the caloric intake, stress, and then there's also hormonal imbalances, which include like
PCOS, mm-hmm. thyroid issues, adrenal fatigue, like any diabetes. Sort of diabetes. That's a good one.
Sorry, I will.
Is that yours?
Yes.
So those things can any of your what is the word, imbalance in your body can affect this, can affect your milk supply. So again, you'll want to reach out to a lactation consultant.
Yeah, Emily says stress is a real thing. Postpartum anxiety and depression really impacted her and her supply. Yeah. Yep, that is absolutely can happen. Yeah. So, and it's a vicious cycle because it's like, well, I'm stressed that I'm not producing enough milk, and because I don't believe, and then you don't produce enough milk, and it's just so if you can break the cycle, break the cycle of stress, get help with any anxiety or depression that you might have that is warranted and enough that you feel like you need help. Yeah.
Or employ meditation, breathing techniques, guided imagery, relaxation, any sort of way, self-care. Yeah. All of those things can contribute to reducing the stress you have on your body, and therefore you won't be so stressed about your baby getting enough.
In fact, we have our course. I wanted to say car. We have our, oh my gosh, my brain is not firing its synapses.
Sorry, I was reading. I'm not listening.
You're not helping me out.
I'm not
at all. Anyway, we are launching our childbirth course like soon. Super soon, like this month.
Yeah.
And excuse me. And so within our course, we really dive deep into breathing techniques and relaxation techniques, because not only does it help you a ton in labor, like it is the key to labor.
It's the key to labor.
But it's also, as you practice it, these are things that you can do while breastfeeding, while when you're parenting and life is hard and stressful. And so they're amazing skills to have. So just keep that in mind.
And okay, so Emily was saying that she tried everything with her milk supply when she was feeling stressed. So talked to a lactation consultant, lots of different moms, and it was so hard even with all the trying, it didn't help her milk supply. And then I love what Krista said after is, there's no shame in formula feeding.
Yeah, I agree.
There's none. And the thing is there's so many benefits in that 1 ounce that you can give your baby.
Yeah.
Honestly, because my babies, my twins, the whole time they have been alive, they had 1 ounce of breast milk and 9 ounces or whatever, 6 ounces of formula.
Mm-hmm.
But I understood that it was as much for them it was as much for me as it was for them. I enjoyed one of the my own scientific thing about breastfeeding for me was I had other kids that needed me all the time. And the only time that I felt like, no,
justified.
I am sitting down and I'm nursing these children. That was the only time I sat down and really connected to them.
Okay, like it was totally like everybody expected you to. Oh yeah, you need to sit and you need to breastfeed.
To me, it was not only a benefit to my children, but it was a benefit for me. That closeness, that connection, that bonding, and then just being able to be with them for a moment and be able to push everything, all responsibility, all the laundry, all the children, everything was like, no, I need 10 minutes. So that's one of my personal benefits of
it helps you
breastfeeding.
Slow down.
So your supply might be diminishing. You might try all the things, and just know if you still feel strongly that you want to breastfeed, do it. If you're like, oh good, the transition is fine, let's just move on to formula, do that too.
Yeah, because again, there is no shame in feeding your baby. You need to feed your baby.
Yeah.
So if you are having supply issues, and you've tried everything, like just know that's okay too. When something that helped me, which not in the moment, it helped me with my next baby, but when I lost my milk supply with my second, and I brought this up in another live before, but I used an affirmation that I produce an abundance of milk, and I tell you what, I have had no problems since then, since I have implemented that affirmation. So
affirmations can be helpful,
but you have to really believe it.
Yeah,
really believe
and you have to feel that milk coming in, and just have the whole experience of what that affirmation says. And I love. Okay, so Shaylin is asking. Oh, Sherilyn, about do nipple shields affect milk supply? I've heard that, and I had to use one with my first, and
lost your milk
supply. And lost your milk supply. Okay, so what I know about nipple shields is, if you're going to use a nipple shield, the best thing you can do is consult a lactation specialist, because your nipple shield, it can affect milk supply, and it can affect that your baby is getting enough milk. I don't know. I never used a nipple shield.
I did with my first, but and sometimes it's super helpful to protect your own nipple, but then also my baby always felt like she was drowning because
interesting. That's cool.
The
shield.
No, my letdown was all of a sudden gushed, and so it was she was
couldn't
it honestly felt like she was drowning. And so I don't know about it reducing your milk supply, because I feel like it's within the letdown, but maybe it's within the emptying of the
There's
breast.
something about it, but everything I read on nipple shields was you can use a nipple shield, but consult a lactation consultant just to make sure it's functioning as it should. So
yeah, and then we had a comment up higher about tongue ties.
Oh, and talk about that. Oh, sorry.
So tongue ties that is a thing. So latches. Okay, so we want to go on and talk about latching.
There's nothing on
because there is some, that is a thing. Like your baby sometimes, like breastfeeding is a learning curve, not only for you but for your baby too. They're really trying and they're trying to figure it out, but they're new to everything. So they've got the reflex in them to root and come.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. Hi.
We had a
okay. So battery. Root and what?
They root and they want to latch, but sometimes they unlatch, and sometimes there's a really bad latch, like they're not getting deep enough. You want to have the whole areola, like as much as you can in their mouth. Their your nipple should be at their soft palate, all the way back there. And if it's not deep enough, that can actually cause a lot of pain in you. So the thing about tongue ties is that will make a shallow latch if they have any sort of tongue or lip ties. So that's you guys are getting it good. That's this little thing in there, right?
And those like tissue, the
tissue that holds it down. So if you are concerned about your baby's latch, or if you're feeling like they're not gaining weight, or if there's that's something to look into as far as lip and tongue ties go, because that can be a thing. That's a thing. Yeah. So,
and I love what Molly is saying. Sometimes your lactation consultant can miss it. Sometimes pediatricians will miss it. So if you still are, after consulting those, are questioning, a pediatric dentist or a speech therapist can help.
That's awesome
as well. That's really good. I didn't know that stuff. So I love that.
Able to nurse for 4 months.
Awesome. Okay, sorry. I'm in your way.
Catching up on the comments. Thank you so much.
So yeah, I know. Thanks.
We love all of your insights and information
and questions. It's awesome.
It is so great.
Okay, so the next thing is
so the baby not staying latched for very long or refusing the breast can happen. No, that's no problem. So what can happen is always offer the breast before supplementing or expressing breast milk or formula. And then, again, we talked about this, the baby's learning a new skill, so be patient. And sometimes it's especially that first week when you're sore and it hurts because you're contracting every time they latch on, and it just hurts worse than labor. Is that just my experience? You never know. So what happens is, what's amazing is, again, the design of our body is incredible. That especially that first week, and sometimes a little bit longer, sometimes a little bit shorter, when a baby latches on to nurse, it will trigger the response in your body, the hormone, the actual oxytocin, to contract your uterus back down to size. So within that, you might notice that you have gushes of blood every time you nurse. And you'll notice that you'll have contractions. Like for me, it feels like legit contractions. I don't know if it's because my labors are fast, but I will moan like I'm in labor when I am nursing. And make my husband do counter pressure on my back. I make sure to have icy hot rubbed on my back before I start nursing. And I literally dread when my baby has to nurse that first week. It's always no, it's time again. But
that doesn't always happen. That never happened to me.
That never happened to her. So, but know that if that's happening to you, it's okay. It will end. And then here we are 10 months later, and I'm oh, you're somewhat upset. Let's just right. Let's put you on the boob and fill your mouth up with something to stem the flow of sad emotions.
Right.
Because that feels like that's going to be issues.
Do. One other issue that the lactation consultant, Anna, sorry, I want to call her Anna for some reason, Anna talked to us about is when newborns become sleepy, and they'll attach and they'll latch for just a few seconds, minutes, and kind of like shallow and then kind of fall asleep. And you want that baby to be eating and sucking.
Because then, going back to last week's topic, they'll sleep better if they have a full belly.
Yes. So a couple things that you can do, you just want to wake them up. When it's feeding time, they need to be awake. And so you could try changing their diaper, changing their clothes, and stick them back on. You can massage or twirl or touch like their crown of their head. It stimulates them, like it wakes them up and stimulates them to like, hello. So the kind of just massaging the crown of their head. You could use like a wet washcloth on the bottoms of their feet or tickle. What are some other things?
You can also switch. As soon as they start falling asleep, you switch to the other breast.
Yeah.
So that can be, and she said even 30 to 60 seconds. Like every 30 to 60 seconds, you could be switching, and that's totally okay too. So you want to keep them awake and nursing.
Yes. And let's see. And skin-to-skin contact is always good to promote breastfeeding. So spend a lot of time in your Dear Darby gown. You can just like wear that and then have skin-to-skin access whenever you want it all day. Is pretty easy.
Krista, I'm so glad that you had fast labors but didn't have that bad contractions when you're nursing. Good. See, there's hope. There's hope out there.
There is. I want to talk about one thing that I feel like is a breastfeeding misconception. Two things. I feel like there are rumors about breastfeeding that aren't necessarily true. One of them is you'll lose all your baby weight if you breastfeed.
Yeah.
The second one is that you won't get pregnant if you breastfeed.
Oh, yeah.
Both of those are not true.
Those are myths.
Those are myths.
So there are some people that will, like, their bodies will use it as, like, a fat storage, like, use all the fat
Literally
storage.
will suck the fat out of you.
Which
your
is
baby
amazing.
Will. Yeah.
And that's pretty cool if that happens to you. But it's also cool if it doesn't and you don't lose a single pound. Because here's the deal. Your body is doing what it needs to do, and it is smart. Yep. It is smart. And, yeah, it's super annoying to have a 6-month baby pooch when you have a 3-month-old baby because you haven't lost a single thing. I have the body type that I do not lose a pound while I'm nursing. And so, which was super frustrating for me for my first few children. And then I just embraced it. It's like, okay, this is, now I know. Now I know not to expect it to do anything more than that. But the cool thing is I actually had a midwife that said that she likes to see the extra pounds on mom because she thinks it's creamier milk. So
and she would.
My babies get fat and they are rolly. So that. I don't know if that's a real thing, but if it is, I will take that extra pounds and I will wear it proudly because my babies get all rolly.
Yeah, and get that creamy milk that is just filling those babies up with nutrients.
But just know that don't be disappointed if your body isn't showing up the way you were hoping it would when breastfeeding.
Yeah.
Because it's actually, like, be proud of the feat that it's doing as far as producing milk and nourishing your infant solely based on what your body's producing.
Yeah. And to the other extreme, Becca just made a good comment that she gained 20 pounds when she was pregnant and then lost almost 20 pounds when at 4 months of breastfeeding, which that can be kind of scary, or 20 extra pounds, so 40 pounds, 50 pounds additionally. So that can be scary too. Not scary, but like, wow, why am I losing so much weight, or what's going on? So just know there's two extremes, and it's okay, and your body is doing its best job if you are giving yourself enough rest, taking time to have some self-care, to not stress so much, and drinking tons and tons and tons and tons of water. Like, your body will do it. And if you are concerned at any point, please contact a lactation consultant. Honestly.
Yeah, and your care provider, and just like make sure you're getting the support that you need and the answers that you need. Because another thing is just knowing your body. Like, okay, I know that this is within normal range.
Yeah.
Everything's okay. I did some blood work, some testing. Hormones are fine. So this is going to be, I'm fine because now I know this is how my body responds to this. So getting to know your body is actually really, you become the expert on you. In fact, Alina read a quote to me about, do you remember what it said? It was amazing. It was from a doctor that she said,
your intuition, something about your intuition
is
as important. What your intuition is telling you is as important as a doctor's assessment. So we should all, and that's coming from a doctor. She said when anyone of her patients would tell her they didn't feel like that was right, or they felt like something else was going on, she listened to that just as much as she would listen to the
symptoms or the
heartbeat or
something that her own assessment of and her own like knowledge base of like medical textbooks and things like that. Because we are all different, we all show up a little differently, and so you become the expert on you. You trust yourself and you seek the support that you need.
So what
was the second thing?
That you can't get pregnant when you're breastfeeding. You can.
You
lots
even
of people
if
do.
You're not getting not having a period, sometimes you ovulate. So if you're not wanting to get pregnant, don't base your birth control on the fact that you're breastfeeding.
It's just a myth.
We know lots of people that have gone, like 2 of mine.
While breastfeeding and not having a period. So it happens. So we just want to leave you with that. But we love Anna, and we are so thankful for her insight and information, and we're so thankful to bring it to you. And not only is she doing a question and answer for us, but she is doing this week's giveaway.
She's awesome.
She's amazing. And you know what? She is giving one of you a 30-minute consultation. Super cool. So what that looks like is if you're not in her area, it's no big deal. She does e-consults all the time. So that's on Skype or whatever, and she can look at latch, she can look at all the things, anything that you
and if you haven't had your baby
with.
Yet, you can wait. You can wait. Obviously, you need a baby. So so if maybe this is your first baby and you're nervous about like breastfeeding and how that's going to look, and because here's the deal, so my first baby at 5 weeks, I didn't realize, because she was gaining weight, I didn't realize she actually had a really bad latch. And it wasn't until somebody was like, no, you shouldn't be having cracked bloody nipples still at this. Actually, I don't think you should be having cracked bloody nipples ever, but from what I understand, but I'm not a professional. But I ended up getting her adjusted, like chiropractic and craniosacral, and she was so tight in her neck and jaw that she had a shallow latch and was clicking when she would nurse,
and then it wasn't,
and it was just ripping me apart. And so after that, it's like she became a newborn again, and like her neck was like floppy, where before I was like, oh, she's so strong, look, she's holding up her head. Well, no, she was just so tight and tense in her neck. So it's again, I didn't know that, so it was so great to have the expert advice from somebody that is like, things are going good, or actually you should try this or do this or whatever.
So if you have any questions whatsoever, put them in the post that's going up right now. And if you'd like to be entered into this week's giveaway for the e-consultation with Anna, a lactation expert, leave a comment, share it with all of your pregnant friends, nursing friends, whatever.
And we'll post the articles too.
Yeah, and we'll post the articles. And you guys are amazing. This is so fun. We love it. And we're glad that you showed up today. And thank you for your comments and your support of each other. And
you guys are the best.
You are the best. So we love you, and we will see you next week. And we'll see you in the comments.
Yeah, and we'll see you in the stories, and we'll see you around. We love when you guys show up in our DMs. So love ya.
Bye.